Welcome to Uncle Bob's Magic Cabinet, a mother-daughter podcast on all things magic and pop culture. Three, two, one, and we're on.
We are on.
What's up?
What's going on?
Well, you know,
This and that.
this and that, little bit of this, a little bit of that.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Hey everyone, I'm Leigh, I'm the daughter.
I'm Lori. I'm the mom.
Girl,
What?
what you drinking today?
I'm drinking some, I don't know, what the hell is this? Some pumpkin beer.
Some pumpkin beer.
Yeah, we got it at Trader Joe's today.
Yeah, it was cheap, guys. If you need some cheap
Dude.
alcohol, off to a great start.
Leanne's becoming a wine connoisseur.
Yes, I recently discovered wine, so that's what pinky out, you know?
Pinky
I'm
out.
feeling fancy. I've got a wine glass.
With bats on it.
With bats, of course.
Sweet.
If I'm going to have something fancy, it's going to have something spooky
Gotta
on
be
it.
spooky.
So yes,
Are you feeling mature? Are you feeling...
I'm feeling very adult.
Are you?
This is a white.
This is a white.
I don't know
actually-
anything
yeah,
about wine,
Uh-huh.
but I
Well, you're
like
learning.
it.
Yeah.
It tastes good.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm drinking today.
And it wasn't $2 Chuck.
No, it was $4 Chuck via Trader Joe's. So thank you, not sponsored.
And pretty darn tasty, right?
Pretty darn good.
Pretty darn tasty.
Wow, excellent.
I'm drinking, this stuff. So it's good. It's good.
It's good. No complaints. No,
No complaints. I like the graphic on the bottle. You know, that's always what sells me first.
I'm a sucker for if you put a pumpkin on a label, I'll buy it.
I'm a sucker for a good graphic.
Right?
Yeah.
Me too. Oh boy.
Yeah.
So we did something fun today.
We did.
So obviously we're going to dress up for Halloween.
We are.
For
That's
the
next
podcast.
week. That's next week.
Next week's episode.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like racking our brains trying to figure out what we wanted to be, and we discovered it.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you what we're going to be,
No, we're not.
but we're going to tell you what we rolled out.
What we ruled out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, obviously, next year we need to plan appropriately.
Correct.
You know, right? Give ourselves a little more time and creative.
Yeah.
You know. So, but we could tell you what we ruled out.
Yeah. So what we really thought was going to happen were the Bee Gees.
We were going to be the Bee Gees.
We were going to be the Bee Gees.
I was going to be Barry.
And of course, if you had any doubts, I was going to be Robin.
You were going to be Robin. And we went today to
Spirit Halloween.
Spirit Halloween to find some chest hair.
Some chest hair, some medallions, some luscious locks.
Some luscious locks.
And when I tell you that
Some feathered back bangs.
some feathered Robin Gibb hair.
No.
There
was none to be
This
found.
is Bush. This is Bush League.
Bush League.
They could not encapsulate that golden goddess that is Robin Gibb. We could not find a single wig that looked anything like Robin
No,
Gibb's hair. So I
nothing.
was like, well, no, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right.
That's what I mean, that we need more time so we can create it ourselves.
Next
because
year.
clearly there's not a market for the Gibbs.
And you're going to be Barry. We have to
be Barry.
We have to talk Jake into being Maurice. So give us some time. We're going to get there.
We need some time.
We need some time.
Okay.
My hair is the closest to Robin's out of all of you.
Listen here. If I'm going to be a Gibb, you
gotta be Robin.
You bet your ass I'm Robin.
Wasn't Maurice bald?
He was.
Just get a bald cap. So we rolled them out until next year.
Right.
To be determined.
To be
It's
determined.
Gonna happen.
Yeah. It could be a couple years in the making. I don't
Yes.
know.
Then we were like, we should be people from Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
However, their costumes are kind of intricate.
Well, the costumes that they have at the costume store are Bush League.
Also, Bush League.
Bush League. Freaking amateur hour.
Yeah.
So
Tacky.
again, I need time. to put something like that together.
I agree.
I thought Professor Sprouts, again, time is needed. Time is required.
Correct.
I'm going to need to start planning literally the day after Halloween on next
We're
year's
gonna need a full
ensemble.
year. Yep. I said that we should be the Coreys from
Yes.
the Lost Boys.
Yes.
But you did not want to do that.
Now, I said we could go as the Frog Brothers, but I don't know if a lot of people would have gotten that.
I'll respect that.
And then I decided that we should have gone as Motley Crue. And, you know.
Because do you want to, have I said this before? I think I have. I have a little bit of a guilty pleasure. When I was little, I had a little bit of a crush on Tommy Lee. I don't want to talk about it.
Tommy Lee. So you could have been Tommy Lee, and I was going to be Vince Neil, like via, not the early days.
No.
You know, latter years.
Current
Vince Neil.
current Vince Neil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
You could have been Nikki Sixx. I don't know, maybe.
No. I'm always
Yeah,
Tommy Lee.
always Tommy
I
Lee.
have his entire wardrobe in my closet right now.
Well, and Kurt Cobain's.
Kurt
Yeah, you could have
Cobain's.
been Kurt Cobain. I could have been.
Like
been
how
Dave
you say
Grohl.
it. Oh my God.
I could have been Dave Grohl.
Hey, that
He's the
would've-
coolest dude in the world.
He is. That would have been a really Seattle-esque.
Yeah.
Wow, we really missed an opportunity. Next year.
Next year. Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Pamela Anderson. Get out of here.
Get out.
Jake's trying to get me to bring up. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do. No need to go any further. No need. I do
I'm
recall.
with you. I get it. Okay.
I recall it.
Just wanted to drop that little nugget. You
Yep.
take from that what you
Yeah.
will. All right. So, anywho, we've landed on something.
We've landed
that
on
we
something.
think is cute.
Yeah. It's a good first year.
It is a good first year.
A good first year. Yep.
Take some effort.
Yeah.
Recognizable.
Yes.
Fits the theme of Uncle Bob's Magic Cabinet.
Yes.
So you'll have to wait until next week to find out.
Yeah. And 6 degrees of, one of your favorite people. So
Yeah. I'll just
Hint.
say this: we've figured out a way to work our favorite person into yet another episode.
Yep.
So
And it's not Elvis Presley, so there's only one other person.
there can only be one.
There can only be one. All right. So so no Motley Crue. Maybe next year.
No, rest in peace to that idea. No, next year the Bee Gees is happening.
The Bee
So,
Gees?
look out for that. I think I
like
could.
it.
I could figure out some chest hair. We'll get it.
think
We'll
so?
get there. We'll get there.
All right. I dig it.
I'm going to use my lunchbox as inspo.
Inspiration. So it's hilarious because Jake gets us in the groove when we come in,
does.
because literally we are going from the minute we get up in the morning until,
Yeah.
and it's like midnight.
It's
or something.
midnight.
It's late.
It sure
And
is.
so we're, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm dragging.
Are you?
I'm dragging, man.
Hey, you look peppy. You look great.
And so, Jake tries to,
He plays
create
some,
the vibe.
We spend about an hour sitting in the, in the Uncle Bob studio, and he plays some jams, and we get in the zone. And he really hit the nail on the head this week.
He did.
Party All the Time by Eddie Murphy
Mr. Eddie Murphy.
is apparently the pump up jam.
It is the pump up jam.
It got me in the mood.
I mean, and I like how he plays the videos too, because
he does. Yeah.
a little Rick James in there,
And
Yeah.
the dance moves and the outfits.
dance moves, and
wow.
he's just like, oh Eddie,
he's-
he's happy.
I would hum it right now, but we don't want to get, So just imagine me going to town on that song.
Yeah, and you like, maybe we can remake it.
I think we should re-record it.
I think that's a good idea.
I think that's a great idea.
I'll be your backup vocalist.
So also, oh my God, yeah. So also be on the lookout for that.
yeah, absolutely.
And in the meantime, please go watch that video. Because it is
so
hysterical.
great. Some of these videos are so good.
Yeah, if you are ever like you're feeling down, the state of the world, it's kind of a dumpster fire right now. Go on YouTube and simply type in like 70s, 80s. Oh my God, Snow, from the 90s music videos, 70s, 80s, 90s music videos. You'll get a laugh. You'll find something in there. We
Yeah.
listened to Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus.
Oh yeah,
That was a great laugh.
right. And then the new Radicals tune.
You get what you give.
You get what you give.
again,
That's like quintessential 90s for me. Anytime I think of 90s music, I always think of that
yep,
that album
video.
cover.
If an alien landed on this planet and said, like, I need you to describe the 90s for me, which I don't know why they would do that, but if I was an alien, that's what I'd want to learn about.
What's happening in the 90s?
I would say go and watch the New Radicals You Get What You Give music video.
Yeah.
Really sums it up.
Yes, I like it.
Yes.
Oh, music. It's such a great thing. It's such a great thing. It is. It really is. I love it.
That was beautiful. Let me take a sip of my wine.
Let me write that down. Oh, no. Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
You want me to jump right in? It's spooky time, so you know we're staying spooky.
It is Halloween.
All right. I am doing Carrie.
I love that movie.
How do you feel about that?
I love it.
Yes, I'm doing the
Sissy
movie.
Spacek?
Yes,
Wonderful.
Sissy
Yes.
Spacek. Okay, I'm doing the 1976 movie. So,
so good.
it was a book, and then there's been remakes. So I am focusing on the original movie that was released November 3rd, 1976. And it is a horror / drama.
Interesting. November 3rd, so after Halloween.
I know. I thought that too. I'm like, wow, you really
You missed the boat
They're trying to
by
carry
about
on.
3 days.
They're trying to carry on spooky season, which I respect.
I like that.
Yeah. So it was directed by Brian De Palma.
Oh, Brian De Palma.
And I'm just going to give a little. There are so many names and terms that I'm going to butcher.
I love it.
So look out for that.
You're the best at it.
I got to do it. You know what I mean?
As long as there's no math.
I get it. I'm not good at math. We know that now. No, there's no math involved. But there is science, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Science plus wine. I don't know. Stay tuned. Okay, so this is based on the novel by Stephen King, which we love Stephen King
Yes,
here. Okay.
we do.
This is his first published novel.
Oh, really?
He's Carrie. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either until I did my research.
Wow.
And this is also the first movie adaptation.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's awesome.
I know. Cool, right? So the tagline for the film is, if you've got a taste for terror, take Carrie to the prom. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh, right on. It's got a good cast, too.
Yes. Speaking of, okay, I gave you a warning because this is going to be bad. So it is starring Sissy Spacek as Carrie White, Piper Laurie. Oh, nailed it. We know her from Twin Peaks.
And also The Faculty.
Oh my God, yeah. Yes, nailed it. Okay, she is Carrie White's mother, Margaret White.
She really does good in this.
She does. Everyone does.
She's very scary.
She's terrifying. We've got William Catt as Tommy Ross.
I freaking love him.
You got a crush on him?
Greatest American hero.
Talk about some feathered hair.
Dude, he had the curls.
Luscious
He
locks.
had the golden locks.
Woo.
But he was the greatest American hero.
He was. Yep. We've got Nancy Allen as Chris. Nope.
What?
Chris Hargensen. Close. No cigar.
Not close.
We've got Mr. John Travolta.
Oh, Mr. John Travolta.
And this was his first movie.
Was it?
It
after
was.
Welcome Back, Kotter.
Yes. After he was gaining some popularity from that, this was
After
his
Boy
first
in the
movie.
Bubble.
Yes.
Oh, that was made for television.
Apparently, she knows all of John Travolta's career. He was Billy Nolan.
Yes.
We've got Amy Irving as Sue Snell. We've got Betty Buckley as Miss Collins, the gym teacher.
Yeah.
Betty Buckley.
Miss Betty Buckley. Yes.
Okay.
Bringing back the memories.
So here is the rundown of Carrie. It opens at a high school gym class volleyball game. Carrie White misses the ball once it's passed to her, and everyone's being a total douchebag. And you're going to hear me say the term douchebag a trillion times throughout this.
So mean to her.
I said that to Jake when we started watching, and I'm like, God, they were so mean to her in this story.
It's so funny because really when you look at bullying at that, it was acceptable. You know what I mean? It was just like, oh, they're just
Whatever.
kids being kids, and how now it's more in the forefront, and that's unacceptable behavior, but it really messes people up.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think that's like the main story of this. Is hello. So they're all being really rude to her. They tell her to go eat.
They call her something like
Creepy Carrie.
Creepy Carrie.
Yeah. So in the locker room after the game, everyone's giggling and goofing off with each other except for Carrie. She's all alone. Okay. As she's taking a shower to insanely ridiculous flute music. Like, I'm talking this opening scene.
Some Ron Burgundy flute music.
Yes. I'm like, just come on out, Ron Burgundy, with your flute. With the Shania. Like,
it's illogical.
She's like washing herself. There's some problematic things in this movie, as there are with pretty much everything that came out in like the 70s. She's like washing herself with soap, and she's supposed to be a teenager, and we're like looking at her naked. I don't know. Yeah. It's awkward. I'm uncomfortable.
So it's like they're in the changing room and they all have to shower after gym class.
Correct.
Yeah.
But as a viewer, I'm like, this is uncomfy. I'm uncomfy. But whatever. And they're just playing like, really heavenly flute music in the background. I'm like, I'm confused.
What's happening here?
Anyway, Carrie is showering, okay? And she notices blood dripping down her leg. So she becomes very frightened, and it's clear that she doesn't know what this is.
Yeah, so a lot of times I've had conversations with people like, why did they have to show that? Because we actually went and saw a play produced.
We're going to talk about that.
But, it is important to, bring up that she clearly was not getting any education at home about life.
Correct. Yes, that's part of the thing here is that she's very sheltered, and we'll get into that a little bit. But so the blood is dripping down her leg. She clearly does not know that it is her period.
Right.
Okay. She thinks that something is wrong. So imagine you have absolutely no idea that the menstrual cycle is a thing.
Yeah.
And you
think you're dying.
You think you're dying. Right. So she runs to the other girls in the locker room for help. And of course, they're absolutely wretched to her. And they start throwing pads and tampons at her, telling her to plug it up. Like screaming at her, plug it up, plug it up.
Right.
So interjection to make this really sad story a little less sad. So I had a dear friend who I've been friends with since, high school, who was in a musical.
Oh my gosh.
Which Carrie. It was Carrie the musical. At a small little playhouse where I grew up. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. We'll come see you. And if you're listening to this, which I know you are, but I'm so sorry. It was horrible. Okay. But I want to preface.
It was the worst.
We took my grandmother.
Oh my Lord.
Who was a very prim and proper,
conservative
lady.
Conservative.
Yeah, we'll just put it that way.
The key point is to make is that they had brought Carrie into this time period.
Correct. So they were trying to, but so anywho, we had front row seats. Because we're there to see my friend, right? We're there to support, of course. And there with conservative grandparents, put that in your melon.
Put that in the old cabeza.
During this scene, when blood is dripping, they start throwing bloody tampons into the audience. And my grandmother just looks mortified. We left and she's like, how uncouth. Which was fantastic. I'm like, A+.
Priceless.
You did a great job, guys.
Hey, even though the play sucked, it was completely worth it.
Worth every single second. So, to the cast of Carrie the Musical, you did it.
Cheers.
Congrats. Oh my God. All right. Anyway, back to the story. In Carrie's panic, okay, so everyone's yelling at her to plug it up. She's like on the ground, freaking out because she doesn't know what's going on. The gym teacher comes over to try to console her, and she's literally like having a panic attack.
Yeah.
And we notice that a light bursts and glass shatters. Okay, so keep that in mind.
Right here.
Yep. Foreshadowing.
In the forefront.
Okay, the principal calls her into the office to send her home, and he's also a douchebag. Take a sip every time I say douchebag.
What's he call her? Cassie.
Yep. He keeps calling her Cassie.
Yeah.
And she's like, my name is Carrie. And he keeps calling her Cassie.
Yeah.
So clearly no one pays attention to this girl. Everyone's mean to her. She's weird. She's the freak. And she's just like a throwaway. So we notice, again, that as he keeps calling her Cassie and he's like patronizing the shit out of her, she makes his ashtray, which is weird that people could smoke.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I know. Like he was smoking in the principal's office.
I think we just talked about this last week. I said, it is absolutely so weird to see people smoking in
like
movies.
in public places and stuff. I know. It's odd.
In restaurants and
So she's focusing on his ashtray and then she makes it shatter and fall off the table. Again, foreshadowing.
Nobody thinks that's weird.
I know, no. No one pays any attention to it. I would have been like, what the shit was that?
Hell just happened.
Oh, no. So she's walking home. Again, you hear people calling her Creepy Carrie, like you said. This little kid on a bike is like, Creepy Carrie, Creepy Carrie. And she like flings him off the bike.
Right. Do you think she's
bitch.
aware at that point that that's her doing that?
Yeah, I think she's catching on. So we are introduced to her mother, Mrs. White. She is super religious.
Wow.
She is sharing pamphlets with her neighbors on saving children, on saving children through the cross and Jesus Christ. She seems very passionate. I will put it that way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Correct. So back at home, Carrie obviously seems scared of the mother.
Well, sure.
Correct. Because she's a little intense.
Doesn't she lock her in a closet if she does something wrong?
You're jumping ahead.
Shut that
At this point, she wasn't in the closet.
Oh,
yet.
sorry. She wasn't out of the closet.
She was just sharing pamphlets.
Okay. Gotcha. Oh,
so anyway,
sorry, my bad.
She ends up smacking Carrie over the head with a Bible once she learns that Carrie got her period. Right? Because the school calls her house and says, hey, this happened today.
You didn't talk to her about that?
Correct. This happened today. And she ends up smacking her over the head and saying like, well, you know, now sin is going to enter your body because you got your period. Okay. Also take a sip every time I say period. Okay. So again, it's obvious that Carrie was never taught about this because she keeps saying like, why didn't you tell me? Like, I thought that something was wrong with me.
I was
the mother,
correct.
The mother is just awful. She's a douchebag, so to speak. She then drags her into the closet. Thank you for that. And locks her in there until she recites Bible verses and is, you know, saved enough to come out.
Right.
Okay. Once she is let out, Carrie is crying to herself in the mirror. And the mirror shatters. So again, obviously something is going on here with Carrie when she focuses her energy on something. We're noticing things happening. So the next day, we are introduced to Tommy Ross.
Oh, I just love him.
I know. I like his character. He's a football player. I have written here, #1 hunk.
He doesn't look like the quintessential football player.
I don't know. He's wearing a ring. He's wearing a pinky ring.
Only you would notice that.
I know. When I was watching,
ring?
I was like, ooh, you got a pinky ring. He must be hot. That's how I know. He's got, you know, Barry Gibb-esque luscious locks.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, we could have been Carrie and Tommy Ross.
Oh my god, we could have.
God.
Oh, that powder blue tux that he wears. Oh yeah.
Mwah. Excellent. I have written here luscious locks. Nailed it.
He does have some luscious locks.
In class, a poem is read of Tommy Ross's, and Carrie seems to like it and says it's beautiful, and Carrie never speaks. So for her to speak up and say, wow, that was beautiful is very, you know, she seems to like Tommy Ross, basically. Did you hear me? I just like snorted. Ignore that. Moving along. Okay. So meanwhile, the girls from the gym class that were torturing her with the plug it up okay, are being lined up by the gym teacher. She wants to expel them all from prom for what they did to Carrie.
Yeah.
But the principal, who is a man, let me just put that.
A man.
Decided that 1 week's detention is fine. Punishment for skipping detention is refusal of their prom tickets. Whoa.
Wow.
Holy Am I the only one? Like, prom? I didn't give a about prom.
Me either.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, my mother forced me to go to prom, and I did not want to.
I went with a dear friend who had a girlfriend, and I ended up sitting alone the entire night. So, like, it just... I'm like, oh my God, no, prom tickets, whatever. Okay. I guess it's a big deal to some people.
I guess it is. My
sound
mother
like
made
total-
me go. She's like, you'll regret it for the rest of your life if you don't go. I don't think I would have. I went with a friend, but...
I know.
Yeah.
We're just not those people.
Yeah. I could have given a less.
I know. It would have been like, oh my God, you're expelling me from my prom.
Ooh, sad.
Sad. We're awful. Okay, so the lead of the group, okay, I'm just going to say
there's always one.
She's awful. Her name is Chris. She is like standing up to the gym teacher saying like, no, I'm not going to do this detention thing. And the gym teacher just socks her in the face.
That was great.
This is like a common theme in this movie. People just, this girl
like,
specifically keeps getting punched in the face.
You.
I'm like, oh my God.
Did you have one of those in your class?
What?
One of those.
Main. I think everyone
I
does.
think there's one in every.
I think that's part of this story.
Do you still remember yours?
I do.
I do too.
Yeah. I think everyone can relate to every character in this movie, which is part of my lesson. So, okay. Anyway, this girl, Chris, gets expelled. Prom taken away. Goodbye. Okay. So one of the other girls, Sue, who is Tommy's girlfriend, feels badly for how they treated Carrie. She decides that Tommy should take Carrie to the prom instead of her. And I think that she's genuinely like being nice.
Right.
She's like, I feel bad. Carrie, no one's going to ask Carrie to the prom. We kind of tortured her a little bit. Please take her to the prom. And he agrees to do so.
Under duress or no?
No. I mean, he seems kind of like, if this is what you want me to do, okay. Like I genuinely feel like Tommy's character is like, he's just a nice guy.
He's a good guy.
Right.
All right.
So flash to Carrie. She's in the library and she's looking up books on psychic abilities and abilities of the mind. So she obviously knows
something's up.
Something is amok. Okay.
There are games afoot here, madam.
Correct. She chooses a book called The Secret Science Behind Miracles and learns about telekinesis.
Would that actually have been in any of our libraries? Probably not.
In the school library?
No.
Absolutely not. Anyway, telekinesis is the ability to move or cause changes in objects by force of the mind.
I love it.
I love it.
I love that.
So, okay, Tommy Ross comes to talk to her in the librry and asks her to prom. She's mortified and she runs away, which I can relate.
Yeah.
I had to burp there for a second. I'm sorry. Okay. She's obviously like, what the are you doing? Like, why are you asking me to the prom? I'm like the resident freak.
Yeah. She probably thought they were playing a joke.
Well, she did. Yeah. She says that. She tells the gym teacher, who she seems to confide in a little bit, that she thinks that he's trying to trick her. But the gym teacher convinces her to go and have a good time. But the gym teacher makes sure to go and grill Tommy and Sue and say like, why are you asking her to the prom? But it seems legit, and so they let it slide. The date is on. Tommy and Carrie are going to the prom.
Awesome.
Okay. Carrie tells her mother.
Oh boy.
And the mother freaks the out.
She started like hitting herself in the head or something?
Yeah, she throws drinks on Carrie. She tries to force her into the closet, but don't forget that has now read a little bit about telekinesis and she knows what's up. So she makes it known to the mother that she could fuck her shit up real quick.
I will you up.
Try me, bitch. gosh. The mother calls her a witch. You know, you've got the demon in you. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And she's like, stuff is going to change around here. And she like shuts
You
her
get
up.
in the closet now.
Exactly.
Yeah, right?
Shut the up. So, meanwhile, Billy, who's played by John Travolta, Billy is Chris's boyfriend. Him and his gaggle of douchebags take a drink.
Not the sharpest crayon in the box.
No, none of them are too bright. You catching my drift? Okay. They are all just, they don't really offer an explanation. They're all at a farm and they kill a bunch of pigs, which to me...
Hello, PETA.
PETA, ring, ring. It's very disturbing. Obviously, it's fake. Right. But, they seem to have something planned for prom night. Because remember, Chris has been expelled from prom and she's not happy about it. And she blames Carrie White.
Because I'm sure she was going to be the prom queen.
I'm sure she was. Awful. Okay. So, flash forward to prom night. Okay. Carrie's mom, still being a little nutty. Okay. She's
cheese off the cracker.
I think she was born with the cheese off the cracker. I don't think it was ever on the cracker. I mean, no offense, but Okay, Tommy comes to pick her up and they're off to the prom. Tommy is being really nice to her.
Oh, he is. And she looks so pretty.
She looks gorgeous, and Tommy's being so nice, and he says, do you want to come out with us and hang out after? And I feel like he's genuinely, it's not an act. He's being sweet and being nice to her, and he's trying to show her a good time.
And I think he kind of is starting to like her.
I think he kind of starts to like her. So they dance, and he kisses her, and there's this montage where they're spinning in a damn circle for 19 years.
Yeah, and it's kind of like her head is just spinning.
She's just so
she's on cloud.
She's on cloud 9. Oh. She's on cloud.
She's on a cloud.
TM. She's on cloud.
Trademark.
Yeah, you can tell she's just she's never been accepted by people, and she's finally maybe I can start, having friends, and I can't. It makes me so sad. He kisses her. He makes her feel very special.
Yeah.
Okay. They end up, so Carrie and Tommy end up wimming. They end up wimming.
It was a wimmer.
Shut it. They end up winning prom king and queen.
Yeah, but why?
It was rigged.
It was rigged.
By John Travolta. What's her name?
Pieces of
the douchebag.
The douchebags.
Take a sip.
Yeah.
She's having her moment. They go up on stage. They're, prom king and queen, and she's looking at him I hate oh my god. It's actually devastating. Yeah. So then you notice that there is a bucket of, remember when I said that they were randomly at a farm killing pigs? Okay, there's a bucket of pig's blood dangling above Carrie's head. Chris, the douchebag, pulls the string and down it goes, spilling blood all over Carrie.
Yeah.
And then the bucket drops and knocks Tommy the out.
Does it kill him now?
So I don't know, because I always wondered this, did the bucket kill him or does what happens next kill him? I think that Carrie thinks that the bucket, that Tommy is gone. Yeah. Because that's what really sends her into, she's oh, you done pissed me off.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So imagine that. She's kind of liking Tommy. She, is totally embarrassed. The bucket comes and knocks him out. Everyone's laughing at her, which is something her mom said to her. They're all going to laugh at you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, devastating. She has reached her boiling point. Girl has had enough. And you have to remember, I'm summing it up, they have tortured the shit out of this girl.
Yeah.
There's graffiti everywhere. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Get it together.
Graffiti everywhere. There's graffiti everywhere that says Carrie White burn it. Oh my God. It's the wine, dude.
Carrie White.
All right, I got it.
If Carrie's right.
Carrie right, Carrie wrong.
If Carrie's right, I don't want to be wrong.
That was a good one. It was rich. It's the wine. Hold on.
Let me take another sip.
We got this. All right. Okay.
Go, girl.
You have to remember that they've been torturing the shit out of this girl, right? There's graffiti everywhere.
Oh my God. Can we get an interpreter in here?
Why can't I say that word? There's graffiti everywhere saying like Carrie White burn in hell and creepy Carrie. And so she's obviously like the pit of every joke.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So she has absolutely had enough. And she pops the off. Like, I don't know how else to say it.
She loses her mind.
She
So
loses her
obviously
mind.
her power is propelled by anger.
Correct. So keep in mind, she's been reading about telekinesis. She knows that she's got some juice. And once she thinks that Tommy is dead and, you know, she's being laughed at, she's like, F it, man. I'm just going to like,
I'm going to burn this bitch down.
I'm going to take it down.
Yeah.
She locks all of the doors to the gym. She grabs a fire hose and she starts pelting everyone with water.
Yep.
And a fire breaks out and she electrocutes people. And this is all with her mind, all telekinetically. She starts a fire. I feel like it is one of the coolest horror movie scenes is that scene when she starts like losing it.
She loses her mind. Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
That's kind of the point, right?
Everybody has their breaking point, man.
Correct. And she has reached hers, man, and she's taken everyone out. In my opinion, like she takes the gym teacher out who was nice to her.
I know. But
So-
again, it's like that everybody's against you.
She thinks that everyone, that this was planned.
Yeah.
That everyone is against her. And again, wouldn't you kind of think that?
Sure.
So she walks out of the gym as it's like set on fire. So
Burning to
everyone's
cinder.
going down. And Chris and Billy, who were somehow made it out, try to hit her with their car. And she's like, no. And she flips the car and she catches it on fire. So everyone gone.
Except Amy Irving.
Except Sue, who, kind of had the best intentions. So when she arrives home, she tries to find comfort in her mother, who, as you can guess, no,
wasn't given it.
Right. She basically says that she should have killed Carrie before she was even born because she was created out of sin. So she basically goes on this diatribe about how she really wanted to make love to Carrie's father, but they weren't married. So that was sinful. But they did it anyway. So Carrie was born out of lust and sin. So obviously she was going to be influenced by the devil.
Right.
Okay.
Clearly.
Okay. She then literally stabs Carrie in the back,
With
which
a pair of scissors, yeah.
go figure. In my opinion, it's like that was so like obviously she's gonna stab Carrie in the back. So Carrie, who survives the stab, ends up stabbing the mother multiple times.
Yeah, that was a great scene.
Great scene. Flinging like knives at her.
Every kitchen utensil.
Right. And she ends up kind of in the position that Jesus is in on the cross because keep in mind that she was very, she then crumbles the house on top of both of them. So they both die.
Perish.
Correct. And that is really the end of Carrie.
Yeah.
The only survivor is, what's her name?
Sue. Amy Irving.
Correct. Sue. Everyone else is a goner. She takes them all out.
And she goes on to star in a little movie called Crossing Delancey.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
I have to tell you about it every time.
I knew you'd come in with the whole career of every member of this movie. So that's Carrie.
Great.
Okay, so
That's such a good movie.
it's a fantastic movie. I'm not going to lie. I've not read the book.
It's crushing.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
I hear that the book is very different. I mean, still obviously the same. Stephen King has come out and said that the director was more artistic with this than he was in the book. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's very different. So I would like to read the book, especially seeing as how it's his first.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's interesting. So the lesson here, telekinesis / psychokinesis. Let's talk about it a little bit. Mm-hmm. So it's obviously the ability to move or influence things with your mind.
Right?
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Its first mention is in, are you ready for me to butcher things? I promise I'm not trying to be like offensive. I just don't know how to pronounce things. Mm-hmm. Okay. Ready? First mention is in the Sanskrit epic. Oh no. Okay. Mahabharata.
Okay.
A for effort.
I'll give you an A for effort.
Thank you. Okay, the key character, Shakuni, don't know if I'm saying that right, telekinetically manipulates dice to alter the outcome of a game.
Okay.
Okay. A lot of people say that Jesus had telekinetic powers because he changed water into wine and he healed people with his mind, which is apparently a part of psychokinesis.
Right.
Okay. Merlin,
of course,
the wizard, was telekinetic.
Right.
Automatic writing, spoon bending.
Ooh.
And are you ready for this?
That's on my bucket list.
Ectoplasm are often put under the same umbrella as telekinesis. Did you know that ectoplasm is like a thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was just that one person. Because when I was reading this, I was like, oh no, ectoplasm has come up again.
Ectoplasm makes a comeback.
Here we are. Oh my God. And once again, I say that ain't ectoplasm, but you know, do your thing. So, fraud among magicians seem to put any real evidence of telekinesis to rest. And funny enough, Harry Houdini is entering the chat again.
All right,
because he debunked a bunch of...
We were also thinking about being Harry and Sir Arthur Conan.
That would have been a good one. Yeah, that would have been... That would have been rich. So he comes in again because he debunked a lot of people who said they had telekinetic powers, and it kind of put it to rest for a little bit. But in the 1930s, it shifted from a supernatural phenomenon to a more scientific one. Okay, so American parapsychologist J.B. Rhine began conducting experiments in 1934 and discovered that a gambler could affect dice with his mind. Like he actually conducted experiments. Okay. 650,000 experiments were done. Okay, and although the results were mixed, they suggested that psychokinesis was possible.
Interesting.
Right. More studies were done in the 70s. In 1984, the U.S. Army Research Institute conducted experiments to see if they could utilize psychokinesis as a weapon, which, if you listen to our Stranger Things episode, it kind of ties back to that, where they can, use their melons.
Use the Maloney.
Right. And in 1991, a Nobel Prize winner named Brian Josephon, I don't know, proposed that telekinesis could be explained with quantum physics. And I'm not even going, as I couldn't do simple math, I'm not even going to try.
Quantum physics, not
quantum
your bag.
Physics, over the head. I'm not going to try to explain that to you. But if you will take from that what you will.
Right.
Essentially, it was determined that a person could manipulate gravitational fields by disrupting the atoms and neutrons of an object. Like, this was proved through studies.
Interesting.
Yes. So the theory is that, the age-old thing, like that 90% of the brain is not utilized. is that if you can tap into that,
you could do
you
these things.
can maybe.
I completely agree with that. Is there any like, have you found any cases of like real people?
I mean, these cases that I was talking about the dice, yeah, but it took like many, like what did I say, 650,000 experiments.
So it's kind of like when we talked about, what was the movie that I love that I did? But we were talking about the Xenar cards.
The gift.
The gift, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like doing that to try to tap into.
Yeah, so from what I have researched, it was kind of like, little things like that where you could maybe manipulate a dice or you could manipulate something to go a certain way. That was tested to be possible, but like the theatrical things of like Carrie, taking a fire hose and no, there's nothing there that from what I have researched.
Spoon bending. I always find that so
spoon
interesting.
bending is one of them.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is my lesson there. It is kind of a real thing. Side notes, the cheesy 70s jams in this movie are...
Do tell.
Oh my God. There's just like flute, instrumentals, and just very funky, when they're at the prom.
Oh, good stuff.
Some funky jams.
Yeah. Love the dancing.
I love my color theory. There's a lot of that in this. And if you're into that, I would urge you to investigate that a little bit. They use red a lot, obviously, with the blood.
Right.
Great cinematography.
Yeah.
Bates High School is the name of the school.
Really?
Only in the movie, not in the book.
Okay.
And that is a nod to Psycho.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
And the score of the movie is very similar to Psycho's.
Interesting.
I'm not going to do it, but yes. And there was a remake of the movie in 2013, which I have not seen in a while, but I remember not being mad at. I remember liking it.
No, it had some very applause-worthy moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you're going to do that.
I might.
At some point. I thought it had some... I was impressed with some of that. Yeah, and Amy Irving makes a cameo.
Yeah, I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
So yeah,
I'm
that's
not
my
big into remakes, but I wasn't mad at that.
I know. So that's my spiel on Carrie. I think it's a fantastic movie. I think it's obviously there's a lesson there, like don't be a bully. I mean, I feel like I don't even have to say that. Like just don't be a douchebag. I don't.
Is anybody really mad at Carrie White? No. It's like, dude, I would have burned those down too.
As I was reading, I was like, oh, was she supposed to be the villain? Because when I watched it growing up, I'm like, she's not the villain.
I don't think so. And I think there is really, obviously that goes to the extreme, but it really is a lot to be said about how it bubbles in someone when they are continuously bullied and continuously made to feel less than and not part of. And it's like, just don't do that.
No, be nice to people.
Be nice to people.
Plain and simple. Be nice to people.
Yeah, plain and simple.
And that is our lesson with Carrie. Be nice to people.
Be f***ing nice.
Yeah.
Laura said it.
Yeah. So that is Carrie. Mm-hmm. That is my spiel. And now we have to take a pause for a word from our sponsor.
Yay, our first sponsor?
Up top.
Woo! Girl, right on.
This episode is sponsored by Podcorn, a marketplace connecting podcasters to amazing podcast sponsorship opportunities such as host read ads, interview segments, topical discussions, and more.
When Uncle Bob's wanted to start monetizing, we didn't even know where to start. We knew we wanted to be paired with brands we truly believe in while maintaining complete creative control over our episodes. We stumbled across Podcorn and felt instantly at ease.
This service is made for podcasts of all sizes. With Podcorn, there is no middleman. You can contact sponsors directly and set your own rates, choosing the best collaborative fit for you. You'll never give up any rights to your podcast and will always maintain full control over how and when you monetize. Added bonus, the platform is totally user-friendly and easy to navigate.
Listen up, folks. There are very few people on this planet as terrible with technology as I am, and I had no trouble making my way through Podcorn's marketplace. If I can do it, anyone can.
So, if you're a podcaster looking for sponsorship opportunities, other podcasts to collaborate with, or interview segments, make sure to check out the link in our show notes to begin your search today.
And I'm jumping on in.
Jump on in.
All right. Well, last week we had, I don't know, you posted something on the social media, and we had
On the social media?
On the old social media, you know, that computer thing that you do.
Mm-hmm. The interwebs.
The interwebs. And, so, you know, we had some banter, and we found out that there was something that the two of us did not know about.
I'm upset.
I don't know how the frick that's even possible.
Agreed.
And it's called the Halloween tree.
The Halloween tree? That sounds like I wrote it.
I know. And I do not know how this escaped us. I do not know.
I'm a little upset about it.
I feel like I failed.
This was highly requested.
It was highly requested.
Yeah.
I had never seen it, had never heard of it in my entire life, and neither have you. And we live Halloween 365. So of course I had to do it. We had to investigate, we had to watch it, and this is what I'm doing this week.
Do it.
All right, so the Halloween tree, 1993.
The year I was born.
I know.
What a great year.
It's considered an animated fantasy and drama TV movie. Now, you know I had to be, curious if I'm doing a cartoon.
Correct.
Right. So, produced by Hanna-Barbera.
Yes.
Right. Love it.
We just talked about them.
We just talked about Hanna-Barbera. And 70-minute runtime. So, not bad. It wasn't, most cartoons were like 30 minutes.
Right.
So a little longer. It's based on Ray Bradbury's 1972 novel by the same name. And stars Ray Bradbury as the narrator and Mr. Leonard Nimoy, who was Dr. Spock. As Mr. Munshroud. Yes, it premiered. It premiered on October 2nd, 1993.
Ooh.
And is often featured on the Cartoon Network during the Halloween season.
How the f*** have I never seen this?
I do not know. In 1994, it was nominated and won an Emmy for Outstanding Writing in an Animated Program.
What?
I know.
Okay. All right. I'm upset, but okay, continue.
All right. So the premise is the story of trick-or-treating children who learn about the origins and influences of Halloween when one of their friends is spirited away by mysterious forces.
Okay.
His name is Joe Pipkin.
Joe Pipkin. Love it.
Yeah, so they're all getting ready and putting on their Halloween costumes because they love Halloween, and they're all going trick-or-treating, and their friend Pip, that's what they call him, is, the ringleader of the whole thing, and he doesn't show up. And so they go to his house, and he's being put into an ambulance because apparently he has to have his appendix out. His appendix.
Say that one more time.
His appendix.
His appendix.
His independence of his appendix. His appendix out. Oh, God dang it.
Honestly, a dark turn for a cartoon. Because
it's a little dark.
It's a little dark.
I'm not even gonna lie about it. It's a little dark. So we have Joe Pipkin, Pip, and then Jenny, and she's dressed up as a witch for Halloween. Mm-hmm. We have Ralph, who is a mummy, and Wally is dressed up as a monster, and then we have Tom, who is dressed up as a skeleton.
Tom.
Yeah, so when they realize that their friend has been wheeled away in the ambulance, he tells them to go on without him, and they just think he's playing a hoax, because Halloween is his deal, so it's probably just a trick, and so they decide to follow the ambulance, and they decide to take a shortcut and go through the eerie woods. And, they got to go down this huge ravine, and mushrooms are talked about. I don't know. It's like, what?
Take a little trip, guys? No.
I know. But when Jenny takes her bike down the eerie ravine, it reminds me of Vin Diesel in Triple X when he goes down that railing on a cookie sheet. Remember?
You are the only human being that would connect the Halloween tree to Vin Diesel on a cookie sheet. Stop it right now.
Dude, when he slid down that railing on a cookie sheet in XXX, I was like, what the This is not possible. That's taking these special effects a little too.
I did not know how we got here.
Because that's what it reminded me of. Like her bicycle went completely straight down. No, not possible.
Love it. Okay. Excellent.
Right. So they end up at this they go through the spooky woods and they end up at this haunted house and they meet this man who is creepy as and he tells them that his name is Carapace Clavicle Munchound.
Clavicle?
Like, where the heck did that name come from? Yeah, and he's scary looking.
He's got
he's just kind of, he's got a huge nose and chin. I don't know. And he's like bald. But like he's just weird looking. Anyway, he's upset and he tells them that, they've interrupted his work. And they go outside and there's this huge pumpkin tree. And they see their friend Pip climbing up the tree. I'm not going to give everything away. But anyway, they decide to go on this adventure with Mr. Munchound. And they're going to they're going to go through time. They're looking for their friend Pip, who's like escaped into the mystery world, and they're going to find him, but they're going to travel through and kind of figure out, like, he wants to know, like, why they're wearing these costumes, and do they even know what it means?
Well, yeah, he, like, points out, like, do you even know why you're dressed as a skeleton? Do you even know why you're dressed as a witch? And they're like, huh?
And why are these things considered scary?
Why do you dress up as them for Halloween?
Right, exactly. So they end up taking this adventure, one, to find their friend, but two, to kind of teach them the origins of Halloween, which I think is a very cool take.
Adorable.
On the Halloween traditions. So the first stop is in ancient Egypt. And Ralph is dressed as a mummy, and they learn of the Feast of Ghosts, which is held by many cultures, really to honor those who have passed, generally occurring after the harvest between August and November. So in this instance, they actually exhume the bodies and sit them at the table for dinner.
Have a little munch.
Have a little munch. But it kind of goes into, where mummies come from.
Right.
And why there's mummification, you know what I mean? So it kind of goes into that a little bit. So I was looking up, I found it interesting because really when we go talk about herbalism, which, obviously I love plants, there's a lot of plants that were used in the mummification process. So cinnamon, myrrh, lavender, cedar, peppermint, and rose. So all used in the mummification process.
That's cool.
I just thought interesting,
Love it.
So after they leave ancient Egypt, they end up going to Stonehenge. Stonehenge.
Is it a hedge?
The hedge is made of stone. I meant to say henge.
Stonehenge.
Oh my Lord, it's late. Stonehenge in the Dark Ages in England.
Yes.
All right. So they end up learning the rituals of the Celtic Druids and the Coven of Witches celebrating the new year by this making of brooms, right? And they end up then flying from ancient England to France, where they end up at the Notre Dame, which is unfinished, which I thought was interesting.
Unfinished?
Like it was not built. It was kind of
when they
like
got
when
there?
they got there. It wasn't built. And Wally was dressed as a monster, which it was kind of, they were inferring that was kind of Quasimodo-ish.
Or like a gargoyle.
The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yes.
So at this point, we're starting to realize, at first you start to kind of think Mr. Munchound, or whatever his name is the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
But at this point, they get there and he says sanctuary, which is also really reminiscent of the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Okay.
And he can't enter Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Right. So when I was doing my research, it was saying that Pipkin was actually invoking his right of sanctuary. So that's
please
why.
Explain.
So when you would claim sanctuary, it would be those people that were persecuted were always safe in the church. So Notre Dame is a church, so they could go into the church and be safe from persecution.
Okay.
And so those who were persecuting were not allowed to enter and take them or harm them. Like they were considered safe within the confines of the church.
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
So when he says sanctuary, that means he can't enter because Pipkin is in there invoking his right of sanctuary.
Okay. That's interesting. I didn't catch that.
Yeah. I didn't either until I read it because a lot of people were saying, well, is he a vampire? Is he,
Right.
But he is the Grim Reaper type character.
Correct.
He couldn't enter because he claimed sanctuary.
Deep for a kid's
Deep
tale.
for a kid's tale,
Okay,
right?
Love it.
So part of what they do talk about is, obviously Notre Dame is famous for the gargoyles.
Right.
Right? And so a lot of people feel like gargoyles are an evil entity.
Yeah.
Right, but they're actually not. They're
Misunderstood.
They're misunderstood. They're actually for protection. Mm-hmm. So gargoyles were always, some of the biggest collection of gargoyles are around Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're for protection in several ways. So they were put up to scare away and protect evil presence.
Right.
But they were also put because they had it was kind of like an ancient downspout. You know how we had downspouts on our houses?
Yeah.
So they would have holes in their mouths. When it rained, the water would go through the gargoyle and come out. And so it would keep it away from the building and out.
Yeah.
Because water would disintegrate.
Right.
So it was actually protecting the building itself, but then also to scare away evil.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So dual purpose there for the gargoyles.
Love that.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
That is very interesting. I didn't ever think about that.
Right. So then the last place they head off to is Mexico for the Day of the Dead festival. So that's where they learn, because Tom's dressed as a skeleton.
Right.
Right. We also know there's probably one person that actually saw this is probably Josh Hartnett, because that's where he got his hairdo. Or the 90s do.
What?
Tom's hair looks like very Josh Hartnett-ish.
Hey, you know what? He was setting the tone for the 90s.
I know, right? He was in style. So basically, the significance of skeletons, they are drawn with a smile when you see them during that festival, because it's almost as to laugh at death, to say death cannot beat us. And color is very present. It's a 2-day festival. And it is not a Mexican version of Halloween, so they are not,
Tied together.
But color is huge. They prepare the meal of the people that have passed, and they prepare these altars, and they're lined with lots of vibrant colors, and specifically marigolds. Okay, which are a flower we use in herbalism, but they're very bright yellow. The smell and the color would attract the departed souls and bring them to their altar. So they created an altar for those that have passed with all of their favorite things. And so the marigolds would attract them to the altars. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the story. They go and visit all of these places. They end up saving their friend Pip by actually, they finally realize that he is the Grim Reaper and he's come to take Pip, and they offer up a year of their lives in order to save him.
Can you imagine having a friend like that?
I know. That's pretty special, right?
It is very special.
So each of the 4 kids offers up a year, like, take a year from my life.
Oh, ouch.
Yes.
My heart.
So, 2 interesting tidbits.
Okay.
There's really not a happy ending here, although it appears to be so, right? So they consider this more of a coming of age tale because it carries some dark realities when you like actually think about it. So the kids, they paid Pip's tab, right?
Right.
Ensuring that he gets to live, but they only each gave a year. So he only gets to live for 4 more years. So it kind of ensures that they get to watch him die in his teenage years.
Okay. Ow. What?
Ouch. I know. I never even thought about that.
Okay. Well, now I'm devastated.
So they're saying that it introduces a conversation piece for children who have not grasped the concept of death.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To have, like, this story is kind of a conversation starter around the holiday of Halloween.
Huh. Okay.
So
I can see it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we watched it. So we did say, like, ooh, it's kind of dark.
It is.
I mean,
it
it's
is
kind
little
of dark. But one of the things I did like was that when they go over to Stonehenge,
You sure
to
it's
talk
not
about
Hedge?
the whole witches, Munchausen mentions that when she says, "Oh, well, what did they do? Did they like turn people into toads? Did they, And he said, "Well, they did nothing." And so it was basically stating that women with knowledge and information that was forbidden to them in that time period were called witches. So it's one of the more accurate historical depictions about witches in a cartoon movie, eluding any relation to Satan or the supernatural, that just simply being a woman and having knowledge that men felt you did not deserve to have made you a witch and made you dangerous.
Yeah, that's deep for a kid's movie.
That's deep for a kid's movie.
Way to go.
That's pretty darn cool.
Right.
Right? I thought it was cool.
A+.
I know. So one of the things I also found, I'm always looking for little tidbits that you probably didn't know, that because we did not know this movie existed.
Not a clue.
Or how far its reach was. Me and Jake were talking earlier. It's been released on VHS like so many times and so many formats.
Oh, we're finding it on VHS.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
But did you know that there is a Halloween tree in Disneyland?
What?
Yeah. So the Halloween tree was introduced to Disneyland in 2007.
Huh?
With Ray Bradbury on hand for the dedication, and it was paying homage to him.
What?
Because he was very close friends with Walt Disney, and they're saying that the Epcot Center would have never really come to fruition if he had not written the spaceship to Earth, and that he was a very huge proponent of the Epcot Center. Yeah. So you can go to Disneyland and see
in California
the Halloween tree.
What the wait, only in October or all the time?
I would have to check.
You know what?
I think it's a Halloween.
I'm upset. What do you mean?
How do we not know that this existed?
What? You know what? You're my mother. And I know I need to take responsibility for my actions, but how dare you?
I feel so ashamed. How
dare you miss this?
Right? Oh my God. I know.
I'm going right away.
I know.
When the pandemic lifts, of course.
Oh my goodness. Wow. All right. So it's a really cute movie.
It is very
cute. It's a little dark. I think.
So me and Jake have, obviously we don't have kids, but we talk a lot about like if, because we hope to one day have a kid, what would be on their list of, we have to have this. Like we've started a box of, we have these movies and these books. This is in there.
Oh yeah.
Like instantly, this has to be in there.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you have a kid, I mean, if you're an adult too and you don't have kids, I think you would enjoy it. But especially if you have kids, I feel like it really opens the door for a lot of cool conversations. And it's really a great celebration of Halloween.
I think it's great. I can't believe we've never known about this.
I'm upset that I didn't get to see it as a kid.
I know, right?
I feel robbed.
I know. Oh, goodness. So my lesson is like forging traditions and knowing the traditions that you celebrate. So we are asked constantly, like, what do we do to celebrate Halloween? Like, what are our traditions? So I was just going to go into a little bit about what we do. So
give it to me.
Our traditions, we are, obviously Samhain. And it dates back over 2,000 years, and it's a Celtic festival in the area that is now known as Ireland. And if you've been watching for any length of time, you know that my heart belongs in Ireland. So, that is really where our traditions come from.
You're right.
So obviously, bonfires were lit. In the earliest Irish literature, there's mentions of Samhain festivals. So, like I said, dates back like 2,000 years. It's considered the time of dark mysteries and rebirth through death. So we talk about this. We talk about this in our other business and our Yule traditions, and how this is like welcoming the harvest and ushering in the dark part of the year. This is when you hunker down. Hearth and harvest is what it's all about, being safe in your home. And so fire is definitely a huge part of that, staying warm. That's how you made your food. So bonfires were lit for protection and cleansing. And it's when the veil between the worlds is the thinnest. So again, even in Celtic tradition, it's about honoring the dead and making a place at the table for them. So celebrating the people that have passed and, honoring them and remembering them in, any way that you choose to do.
Right.
So a lot of divination goes into this holiday because the veil is thinnest, and it always is involving apples and nuts, specifically hazelnuts and acorns, nuts. What businessy insult? Nuts. So apples are considered, they're associated with the other world and immortality. So when we talk about King Arthur and the Round Table, which I'm definitely, have an affinity for, Avalon is the Isle of Apples.
Right.
We know that when we cut the apple, in half, we see the pentacle.
Right.
Fire, earth, air, water, and self. So apples play a huge part. And that's why at this time, and when you're harvesting, talking about the harvest, all of this stuff plays in. So a lot of apples, apple pies, apple sauce, storing apples for the winter. Apples are a great, root crop or cellar crop, so they will keep all winter. And then the hazelnuts were considered divine wisdom. So definitely your baking. We do a lot of baking. We do the breads. There is a Samhain bread. One of the herbs that is tied into Samhain is rosemary, your favorite. And why?
Rosemary.
Why is it? Because it's the herb of remembrance. So
That
when
is
we're
sweet.
talking about remembering those who have passed, rosemary was always usually put in the burial ground, and it's used in wedding bouquets because it's the herb of remembrance. So we make a Samhain bread that's made with rosemary as a way of honoring our ancestors.
Right.
Right. Also, one of the traditions is called the sprinkling of seeds. So this is when you throw seeds out to honor those who have passed. And in the spring, there's birth, like growth.
Okay.
Right? So planting some rosemary would be a great way to remember those that have passed, and then bringing forth new life with the plant, right?
Oh.
I know. So your favorite thing to do at Halloween is cut pumpkins and carve
I love
pumpkins,
carving pumpkins.
which also dates back to Ireland. So Halloween is, an Irish tradition. Jack-o'-lanterns were first used carving turnips.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did know that.
And it's based on a story called Stingy Jack.
I did know this.
Did you?
Yeah.
So he actually met the devil one night, and Jake's pulling up carved turnips. They're pretty creepy.
They're terrifying.
They are terrifying. So he met the devil one night, and he ended up tricking the devil the story is, look up the story. It's very interesting. But he ended up tricking the devil and pissing off the devil. And then when he passed away, the devil didn't want him in hell and God didn't want him in heaven. And so they gave him a piece of coal, and he put it in a carved pumpkin, and he still wanders the earth today.
Ooh,
So
spooky.
that's where the tradition of carving out the turnip. So when Irish immigrants came over to the U.S., pumpkins were native here. And then they found that they could carve those. And so that's when so he was called Jack of the Lantern. And then it transformed into Jack-o'-lantern.
Cute.
So turnips and beets and
root
veggies were used and
Right.
carved until they came to America and found pumpkins. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cute.
And then, of course, the trick-or-treating is the last thing, which dates back. It was called mumming. So remember the mummers from the Renaissance Festival?
Nope.
All right. Well, there's a tradition called mumming where the kids would dress up in costumes and they would go door to door and they would sing songs for the dead.
Okay.
And they were given a treat of cake as payment. And that's...
Sign me up, bitch.
Sign me up. Cake? I'm coming.
I am there.
Yeah. And so that's where the trick-or-treating custom came from. So that's just some of the history of some of the traditions that we follow. And I just thought, folks would like to hear about that.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
We get those questions a lot.
We do. We do get asked that a lot.
I hope you guys like that spooky little lesson.
I know. It was fun.
And I feel like if you haven't seen or heard about the Halloween tree, here is your SOS.
Go watch it.
Go watch it.
Yes.
I feel like it's a good introductory, to get the conversation started about the history of Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
I really do.
Awesome.
Mwah, magnificent.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Yay.
You know what time it is.
I think I do. I think it is killer quotes.
Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na.
Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na.
All right. Mine is Insist on Your Cup of Stars from The Haunting of Hill House. And that was submitted by Alex, who recommended the Halloween tree.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So thank you, Alex.
All right. So mine is... I've spent so long in the darkness, I'd almost forgotten how beautiful the moonlight is. From The Corpse Bride, and that is from The Keto Butterfly. Thank you for sending that in. That was awesome.
Beautiful one.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, so if you want to be next week's Killer Quote of the Week, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Uncle Bob's Magic Cabinet.
Yes.
And we'll tell you what to do
Right
to
on.
submit a quote. Oh my God, that was a great episode.
It was, right?
Very Halloween-esque.
Oh, yeah. Next week's going to rock the house.
Yeah, make sure you tune in next week and hear what we're dressed up as for Halloween.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
All right,
girl.
guys.
TTFN.
She's like, all right, bye. All right. Cut print, check the gate, moving on.